tell you what, we are live 7 days a week until I say otherwise. Welcome inside the channel. It is 9:03 Eastern Standard Time, a little bit later than usual, and it is a Saturday night, January 24th. I'm Bobtrosset. Tonight's show is brought to you by my friends at FanDuel and my longest-standing sponsor, the folks at Preston Automotive Group. If you guys could, on the way in, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member or a gift-giving membership. I've got a lot to get into tonight. The latest reporting buzz out there as the Ravens begin their coordinator search. That's both on both sides of the ball, offensive and defensive coordinator hires in the coming days ahead for Jesse Minter as he starts to form his staff in Baltimore. What the Steelers' hiring of Mike McCarthy means for Baltimore, and that is what tonight's pinned question and overall poll is about. Did the Ravens just get a gift? Did Pittsburgh just gift Baltimore with their hiring of Mike McCarthy rather than a young, up-and-coming mind, a go-getter, somebody? I'm not saying Mike's not, but he's not young. He's of the John Harbaugh, Sean Payton generation. And, hey, all three of those coaches are still in this league, and all three of those coaches are going to have a chance to quiet a lot of the noise out there about how attractive it is to go young and fast-track and creative and, of the first-time mold, which is exactly what the Ravens decided to do this week when they hired Jesse Minter. We're going to have that conversation. John Harbaugh penned a farewell message and took out an entire page within the Baltimore Sun to do so, specifically writing to the Ravens flock fan base and a number of other things, including Mike Macdonald commenting on Jesse Minter, his friend and his former coaching staff teammate in Baltimore years ago. But we begin with just a few more nuggets and reactions and insight from a guy that knows Jesse well and knows the Ravens well, and that is former scout turned NFL Network analyst Daniel Jeremiah, who had this to say when at, what is this handle here? At BMore Lil. At BMore Lil's like, yo, what are your thoughts on Minter? And DJ says he's smart, detailed, and players absolutely love him. Authentic guy. That word's hard to come by in some cases in today's day. Authenticity. And in reading up on Jesse, in calling around on Jesse, and familiarizing myself with Jesse, it sure seems like it's exactly it. And it's well put. He brings a level of authenticity. And he knows Mike Macdonald well. They overlapped under Wink Martindale in Baltimore during their time with John Harbaugh and the Ravens years ago before they went on to become, in Mike's case, going to have a chance to compete for an NFC title tomorrow night in Seattle. Went on to, of course, get a head coaching opportunity in the NFL. Jesse went on to win a national championship with Jim at Michigan. And now just several years later, after a couple of years under Jim at the NFL level, at the defensive coordinator position, he gets a chance to lead his own team as well. Here's Mike Mack on his friend, Jesse Minter.
It's like Twilight Zone. I'm in Seattle, Harbs is in New York, and Jesse's in Baltimore. It's like, I mean, that's the NFL for you, but really happy for Jess. Very deserving, great coach, phenomenal coach, great person. Obviously, he's a friend of mine, so really happy for him. He's going to do great.
Mike Mack, always a man of few words, but wanted to make sure, even in the midst of preparations for an NFC Championship game appearance, and what a game that should be if it lives up to the expectations on paper. It's like Twilight Zone, he says. I'm in Seattle, Harbs is in New York, and Jesse's in Baltimore. That's the NFL for you. Great coach, phenomenal coach, great person. Obviously, he's a friend of mine. Really happy for him. He's going to do great. And I know there's a percentage of you out there that can't bear the pain of, one, seeing Mike in Seattle gear, two, following Mike's really successful career through 2 seasons in Seattle, or three, trying to come to terms with the fact that they let him out of the building the way they did a couple years ago after their run to the AFC Championship game, which, of course, came up short and ultimately fell short of the Super Bowl. But Mike is going to have a chance to get there for the first time in his career coming up tomorrow. It's Seattle. It's LA. Rams, Seahawks. Should be phenomenal, but I thought that was classy from Mike about Jesse. As for Kurt Warner, NFL MVP, Super Bowl champ, analyst. He says, I love the Ravens hire. I've gotten to know him, meaning Jesse, throughout the year, and was really impressed with the way he carried himself, his ability to communicate, and his clear vision. I believe he will relate really well with players, and they'll love to play for him. A couple different perspectives. And as we follow the way that the staff is unfolding, both personnel members and players potentially come free agency that are following John Harbaugh to New York. We know there have already been some blockages, meaning slips that were submitted for requests of staff to come with John Harbaugh to New York. Some have been rejected, like a Chris Horton. Apparently not Dennis Johnson. He served as the Ravens defensive line coach the last couple of years. And Dennis, according to Aaron Wilson, former Baltimore Sun reporter, he's going to the Meadowlands. He's going to join the Giants staff, and perhaps this kind of goes hand in hand with what we based yesterday's show off of, and that was Schefter's report about Joe Cullen. Now, he's been in Kansas City since 2022, serving as Andy Reid's defensive line coach under Spags. But prior to that, he was in Baltimore as the defensive line coach. And he became the first candidate, the first reported target to be interviewed by Jesse Minter and the Ravens hiring team. And look, I don't know how many candidates they're going to speak to. I imagine there'll be plenty. But these two overlapped during their time in Baltimore, meaning Joe Cullen and Jesse Minter on that Wink Martindale staff. And so I'm wondering if this is maybe a plan, and I'm sure we'll learn more on Thursday. That's the press conference. There's not a time attached to it yet, but this coming Thursday, Jesse Minter will sit down for his introductory press conference. And I'm wondering if, one, his plan is like Halfley's is down in Miami. I wonder if he'll be the primary play caller on the defensive side of the ball as the head coach. And if that's the case, could he bring on a guy like Joe Cullen to have the title of defensive coordinator, but mainly have his hands tied within his expertise, which is defensive line work? That would make sense to me. And I'm sure he'll be asked, Jesse will be, point blank on Thursday, are you going to be the primary defensive play caller in Baltimore? And I'm expecting that to either not be answered directly, but ultimately be a yes moving forward for them. Now, as for the new reporting, and while there isn't a specific name attached to what Josina notes, and I know probably some of you were in her mentions, I read a few of them, that were calling this tweet a nothing burger. To me, one, Josina's reliable, and two, this suggests and further hints at the Ravens' potential desire to wait out conference championship weekend, not to make their hire at head coach like I thought they might, but to wait to have a chance to interview, perhaps on a more intimate in-person basis, a couple candidates that they've already spoken to. And remember, just a week or two ago, we heard that they were sort of going about this interview process for their head coach vacancy in a multi-dimensional strategy way. What do I mean by that? I think they had some candidates in to, talk about their visions for head coach, but fully knowing that they were a little bit newly minted, a little bit premature, but potentially be groomed for their next offensive coordinator. And so it was almost like kill two birds with one stone throughout those processes. And so this, to me, from Josina, and I'll read it, her understanding is that the Ravens are planning conversations with OC candidates over the next couple days or so, while some of those candidates still being in play for head coaching jobs as well. Now, what this tells me, though, I think they're going to slow play this going into the weekend so they can have a chance to speak with two guys that you see on this graphic right here, because there's two that are going to be on the coaching staffs tomorrow to compete for an opportunity to play in San Francisco for Super Bowl 60. And that would make sense to me. Davis Webb, quarterbacks coach and pass game coordinator in Denver. Nate Shieldhouse, pass game coordinator under Sean McVay in Los Angeles. The other two on the right-hand side, Cliff Kingsbury and Joe Brady. Joe was in the building the day they actually made it official publicly for Jesse Minter. Maybe there's a correlation between the two, them not canceling that visit and their interest in Joe's services as offensive coordinator. And then Cliff is a free agent, so they can talk to him whenever. But that's my read on this. My read on this is that, hey, maybe they end up casting a really wide net the way they did when they settled on or landed on Todd Monken several years ago to be Greg Roman's successor. But I got a feeling that they have a level of interest in staff members that are going to be coaching tomorrow. And why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? I get it. Neither one of these have NFL offensive coordinator past experiences, but they're bright minds, and they both played the position, meaning the guys on the left-hand side played the position at a high level. In Davis's case, yeah, he was a journeyman, but he played at the NFL level. And in Nate's case, he lit it up as an Illinois quarterback at the collegiate level. So why wouldn't they be interested in these two in these former players and these two potential candidates? Hell yeah. Slow play this, especially given this. And this is how I'm going to tie it all in together. Guys, Mike McCarthy wasn't garnering interest. The Steelers' backs weren't up against the wall, and yet they seemingly rushed to make a verbal agreement to hire Mike McCarthy as their next head coach. Super Bowl champion with Green Bay, ironically beating Pittsburgh that years ago. And then, of course, most recently he was with Dallas, of the John Harbaugh, Sean Payton ilk, if you will. But you're telling me that Pittsburgh, who had what? A week less in terms of the Ravens search since they went to the postseason. They had one less week, I suppose, or one less week of a leg up that the Ravens got because of not contending, having lost that regular season finale. You're telling me that they had no interest in speaking to any of these guys that are on this screen, including these two? And that's not to mention some of the defensive minds that are out there as well. The Vance Josephs on Denver's side of the ball. Chris Shula on the Rams side of the ball. Pittsburgh had no interest in speaking with any of them going into next week, knowing that they would have to wait with respect to the NFL guidelines. That's mind-boggling to me. The Mike McCarthy hire, to me, is puzzling. It's not that he won't improve them offensively. I think he will. And it's a cool story. He's from outside Pittsburgh in terms of his native. But I find this really puzzling, and Alex kind of hints at it right here. The Steelers opted to not to wait to even talk with the Rams assistants, Shula or Shieldhouse. Not sure what the rush was, given that there was no other team pursuing McCarthy. So I ask you tonight, live chat, did Pittsburgh just gift Baltimore with this hire that seemingly was rushed? It's kind of perplexing. They countered Minter with McCarthy. And that's not to say that Mike won't do good things for them. And I get it. An emphasis on the offensive side of the ball is the sexy, trendy thing to do in 2026. Now, I'm sure they'll communicate, Holly, in terms of this is not anything to do about Aaron Rodgers and trying to persuade him from retiring. I don't know. I have no clue. We know they overlap together, of course, in Green Bay. Last quote that I remember hearing on by the way, on their exit, Ian O'Connor tweeted this out earlier. Quote, "I can't complain a whole lot about Mike because I had so much freedom at the line. We butted heads from time to time, but I can't complain about the freedom I had, and we lit it up for a lot of years." Aaron Rodgers on his former Green Bay Packers head coach, Mike McCarthy. The Nether says this isn't coordinator talk. Have you been listening? I'm tying it all in. I have a little bit of... I won't crash out yet. It'll be later on. The reason why the coordinator talk and this stems together is because now the Ravens have a chance, if I'm reading Josina's tweet correctly, whereas Pittsburgh had a chance to go into next week and at least throw out an offer and make their candidacies or make their job attractive and chase down a candidate like a Davis Webb, like a Nate Scheelhaase, like a Chris Shula, and bring them into the fold to try and counter the Ravens move, which is universally recognized as, outside of Harbaugh, given the hiring cycle, the most sought after candidate that the Raiders missed out on, that Cleveland missed out in the form of a cancellation in their visit. It was a scheduled visit the day after the Ravens hired him, and Jesse says, "See ya, Haslams." Can you blame him? Certainly not. So my thought on this is that Pittsburgh just opened up the can of worms. Now the Ravens get to go into next week, and the guidelines are lifted, and they're going to have a chance to speak to some of these guys if they want to. As for Cleveland, oh, this is hysterical. Tony Grossi, friend of the program, we've had him on before. He says the Ravens and Steelers are interviewing offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator candidates. The Browns are still grading homework essays from the first batch of head coach candidates and have guys that are saying, like Chris Shula, like Jesse Minter, thanks, but no thanks. How about the criteria? How about what's being asked of these candidates? Take a listen to Tom Pelissero on what he's heard. Some of the criteria is some of the asks of Cleveland's hiring team, like Andrew Berry, their GM. Their asks of their candidates. Listen to this.
First of all, I would say Andrew Berry is the last person who is just going to interview somebody solely to fulfill the Rooney Rule.
Correct.
If he's conducting an interview, he wants it to be with someone who's a real candidate. Mike McDaniel would have fulfilled that. He decided that he just didn't want to follow through on that job coming off of his initial Zoom here. So that's one factor. You're right. They're the only team that has not conducted a single qualifying interview. That'll change, or is scheduled to change next week when they have a second interview with Nate Scheelhaase from the Rams. I would just say this. The Browns' search process and interview process, which they have run a number of times, is unlike any other in the NFL. And it plays to certain types of candidates. They are a data-driven operation in Cleveland. And so they spend an extraordinary amount of time gathering data on their coaching candidates. You're talking about taking a personality test. You're talking about writing an essay. You're talking about completing homework assignments going into both the first and the second rounds of interviews. It plays toward the types of candidates that they have in the mix, which is very, very smart people in a lot of cases that just often happen to be tall, thin guys who came from Ivy League schools, so that's certainly not a requirement. That's the type of candidate generally that is going to fit into a data-driven environment. So
there's a written test. There's a written test, huh? Really? Like they want you to write an essay? This is why I want to be the coach of the Cleveland Browns, or
questionnaires, a multi-part essay, a personality test, and then additional homework assignments if you get through the first round to get into the second round. Which you can imagine then.
The answer can't be Google me? Like you can't go Signetti? I know I'm being flippant, Tom, but that to me, I don't know. You're hopping around the country interviewing for jobs, kids, spouses, boxes being packed because you've hit the road and you're going to sit down and write an essay? You could imagine then when certain candidates decide not to follow through on interviews, part of it may be that it's more than just show up in a nice suit and answer questions in the room. And that speaks to how the Browns organization operates. Sure. Paul DePodesta got there 10 years ago. He built out a massive data and analytics department. Those people have a strong voice in everything that the Browns do. There's a lot of time that is consumed once you're on the job with those conversations. And so the interview process is kind of a preview of that. So
a preview of what? What? Come on. Remember, this is the organization that willingly gave Deshaun Watson a guaranteed contract, given his background, that willingly signed themselves up for a media quarterback carousel and frenzy this season en route to just a handful of wins with a championship caliber defense on Jim Schwartz's side of the ball, And this is a franchise that routinely, led by their ownership group, is the laughingstock of the National Football League. And you're telling me they got the audacity to send these candidates home or to them with homework assignments? A personality test, huh? Did Deshaun pass that sucker? What kind of personality test was that for Deshaun? Sweet Jesus. Come on, Cleveland. I bring all of this up. How the Browns are handling their business, how the Steelers chose to handle their business, which is a straight up deviation from their past. Remember, this is an organization that has not had many head coaches, much like the Ravens. And guess what? You want to know the one commonality, the one trend, the one hiring, I guess, similarity in how they've done all their business at the head coach position over the years? Mike Tomlin was hired in his 30s. Bill Cowher was hired in his 30s. Chuck Noll, the great Chuck Noll, all the way back in the late 60s, early 70s, was hired in his 30s. And they all brought a tremendous amount of success. And I get it. They haven't won a playoff game since 2016, but there's been reasons for that. They've been living in quarterback purgatory, and they missed on Kenny Pickett, and they paid the price ever since. And maybe they held on to Big Ben for too long, who was a shell of himself towards the end. They went with 62-year-old, I think he's 62 or 63, right around John Harbaugh's age, in Mike McCarthy. It's a safe option, but is it the right option? And will it successfully counter Jesse Minter, the option that the Ravens went with? I bring all of this up because while it's impossible to foresee how the AFC North stacks up in 2026 and beyond, if I'm a fan of this team, the Baltimore Ravens, I like the investment that they made from a long-term perspective and the way that this is starting to shape out and shake out, given the way the rest of the division is handling their business. They found a guy who's 42, eats, breathes, sleeps football, and is universally recognized as a tremendous defensive mind, somebody with a level of emotional intelligence that relates to players, whose resume speaks to everything he's accomplished in recent years, including a national title at Michigan, including top 10 defenses in most important statistical categories the last couple of years at the NFL level, and someone who came up and did it the right way in a football family, being that his father has close to 50 years of college football and NFL experience at the coaching ranks. Rick Minter, look him up. Wouldn't be surprised if he's on the Ravens staff, by the way, in some capacity, because that's exactly what he was in LA the past couple of years with Jesse and the Chargers organization. So again, I think you've kind of seen how I've tied all this in together, and hopefully it's making sense. RC410 Bmore says, "What's up, Bobby in chat? Completely shocked with the Pittsburgh hire. McCarthy probably will hire Dom Capers. Is it Capers? Dom Capers, his former defensive coordinator from Green Bay. No excuses. Ravens shouldn't be running the North. Should or shouldn't? For the next 5 years. And that is the contract that Jesse signed. But I just think it speaks to, like, again, it's a complete reverse 180 from a Pittsburgh perspective compared to what they've been about for their entire existence. Is he going to be there at the helm at 72, 10 years from now, Mike McCarthy? I don't know. Maybe. There aren't many out there that are at that level, and one of them that was over 70 just got canned after a one and done year experiment in Vegas. Pete Carroll. Mike is 62. He'll turn 63 in November, coming up in this fall during the season. I'm fascinated by this. I really am, and I'm stunned. I'm stunned by the decision to the guest lines in just a second here. I appreciate you guys for being with me tonight. Over 1,700 concurrents and counting on a busy, busy Saturday evening. If you could like the video on the way in, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member or a gift-giving membership, and allow me to tell you about FanDuel. They got some UFC same-game parlay bets coming up. 11:30. I am not a UFC guy, but UFC 324 main event coming up at 11:30, 2 hours from now. Over 14,000 have placed a wager. A $10 wager wins you just over $121. But for football purposes, we'll stick to what's coming up this weekend. And yet again, guys, you kind of get to sit back and maybe in an R&R type state on Sunday evening, watch a couple potential future offensive coordinators that could serve under Jesse Minter. Patriots and Broncos kick off at 3 o'clock. New England, the 3.5-point favorite on the road, knowing that, of course, Bo Nix will not play. And Jarrett Stidham starts in an AFC championship game. What a story. What a freaking story. That over-under is set at 42.5. 6:30, Rams at Seahawks. Seattle, the 2.5-point home favorite. Over-under set at 45.5. Does Mike Mack have a chance to take his Seahawks to the Super Bowl in year 2? I know you guys are going to be watching that closely, and I'm sure with mixed emotions. And of course, no surprise, Seattle at plus 155, your favorite to win Super Bowl 60. Rams next closest at plus 200. Bunch of NBA odds out there for the taking as well. And you got in-game action taking place right now. It's 9:30 Eastern Standard Time in the evening hours, January 24th, Saturday night. And for the foreseeable future, you already know what you're getting from me 7 days a week. What the hell? Come on now. What's up, Laura? Right up the road. Laura writes, here's $10 to buy a drink at the bar you should be at on a Saturday night. Now, where's that, Laura? Where should that be? Appreciate you. And as she knows, I owe her a rain check. Not on a date like I owed my Thursday night date for a second dinner date that was pre-scheduled that ultimately was canceled because of Jesse's hiring. But I was invited to apparently a singles event or some sort of event at a rooftop bar in Tampa by Laura. And that was entrenched in week 2 at the time. This is going back 8 days ago, right, Laura? In the hiring process. So apologies there. But thank you for the super chat. Now I owe you a drink when I get to see you. RC410 Bmore says Ravens should run the North for years to come, clarifying his previous super chat. RC, thanks for being with me, brother. Look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Pittsburgh won't be competitive. They're going to be competitive. They're going to be there. And I'm very aware of what happened this past season against the Ravens in the regular season. Not only the regular season finale, but the first time around week 14 as well. But it'll be very, very, without Mike Tomlin at the top, what will be their identity in Pittsburgh? And will Aaron Rodgers run it back at 43, 44, wherever he is, years old? I'd have to think that's their best bet right now because they're not picking high in the draft. I guess they've got some cap space, but who are you going to go and get? You're going to bring Kyler Murray in? You're going to take on that contract with Arizona? I don't know about that. What other ties to Mike McCarthy are there? Dak's not going anywhere. He's staying in Dallas. What are you going to do? Bring Kirk Cousins in? How's that any different than Aaron? By the way, I shouldn't do Kirk like that. Kirk actually, I thought he played really well down the second half stretch. Penix went down for them. And they weren't good enough to make the postseason after they struggled in the beginning. But they played well down the stretch, Atlanta did. And I watched them. I keep saying this, but I watched them in person right up the road, thanks to Laura and her tickets, a Thursday night game between the Falcons and Bucks. And I thought Kirk played well. I think he's still a starter in this league. So I don't know what the hell your plan is. Eddie says Cooper Rush. I'm sure the Ravens would be willing to do business. 90 seconds on the clock. Guest lines are open. Your thoughts on tonight? Your thoughts on Pittsburgh's decision? Your thoughts on, and your read, perhaps, your interpretation of Josina's tweet entering championship weekend? Anything on your mind on a Saturday night? Like the video on your way in. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell. consider becoming a channel member or gift giving membership. Let's go ahead and get that 90-second clock in the waiting room. Yeah, it is tempting, Laura. I can hear the bars on Central from my freaking window that's open right now, but we got coverage to do, man. It's a new era. It's a new era. It's worthy of our attention, is it not? Maurice, 90 seconds on the clock, brother. Floor is yours, my man. Good to see you.
Hey, thanks for having me. I genuinely feel like, with the Steelers hiring Mike McCarthy, I do agree with what you stated earlier. It's like that's probably not going to do Pittsburgh any wonders for the long run. I mean, sure, the hiring is good for the short term. I mean, Mike McCarthy is up there in age. He's 62 years old, so his age is around the same ballpark as John Harbaugh. And fun fact about Mike McCarthy, though, Mike McCarthy needs, and I did my research on this before I hopped into the live stream, Mike McCarthy needs 20 more wins to pass both Mike Tomlin and Chuck Noll for 9th place all time in coaching victories. Not like that matters or anything, but I feel the need to throw that out there. So, yeah, I do have my questions surrounding Mike McCarthy. Is if he's the same coach that he was back in his days in Green Bay. I'm sure Packers fans remember Mike McCarthy coming in for Green Bay as a replacement for Mike Holmgren, who departed from Green Bay to Seattle. But yeah, that's not the same Mike McCarthy anymore. And I feel like Pittsburgh made, a terrible mistake. And this is just my honest opinion in hiring Mike McCarthy. So no one knows for certain how he's going to fare in the AFC North division. But then again, anything can happen in the NFL. So, never say never, but we're just going to have to wait and see how next season pan out. But as of right now, we got to play the waiting game and see how the rest of the process goes in terms of, the coaching hiring cycle, the whole 9 yards. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Great to see you, brother. Have a good Saturday, man. Enjoy your weekend. Always brings it. I'm surprised by the hire. It's not because, this guy's won a lot of games in the league. He's won a lot of games. And that's a great stat by Maurice there in terms of what he's chasing history-wise. Got 174 total wins in this league. He's 500 in the postseason at 11-11. But he's been around the league, and he's a Super Bowl champion. What I'm surprised by is, again, when you follow and read the tea leaves and dig into brushing up on the way Pittsburgh's hired in the past, this is a complete reverse course. This is not the way they typically do business. I thought they would have gone after and countered Minter's hiring with one of the young up-and-coming guns to begin his coaching career, and it would have been fresh blood in this rivalry. Instead, hey, you go with a very safe pick. There's no doubt about it. There's a safe pick. This is a safe pick in Mike McCarthy, and he will improve that offense there. No question about it. And DK Metcalf's under contract for the foreseeable future, and perhaps Aaron runs it back. We'll see what they do in free agency. They got cap money, they got cap room and cap space. But when you stack it up against Jesse Minter, while Jesse's not won one game, because he's never been a head coach. So while it's all about proving yourself at the end of the day, and there will be a learning curve, perhaps if you were to compare it in terms of safety analysis, the safety game, yeah, Jesse is a riskier hire than Mike's hiring. But which one has the more upside? Which one has the more staying power and has the chance to be more longevity friendly? And I think we all know which candidate checks the boxes of all those questions. But yeah, it is a fun story from a Pittsburgh perspective. He's from Pittsburgh. He gets to coach his hometown team. Are there people really comparing me to a Dundalk version of myself tonight? It's kind of hilarious. What is it? Is it the cut sleeve on a Saturday night, or the wear that I'm wearing my hat? Or the fact that I got a little bit of sun today? Let me know. 90 seconds on the clock. Appreciate you guys for being with me tonight. Richard, the floor is yours. Welcome to the program, brother.
What's up, Bobby? I am shocked that they got Mike McCarthy. My best friend's a Cowboys fan, so I do know what he looks like. He's not a great coach. He's basically Harbaugh 2.0, but worse. He is as bland as, but actually worse. He's blander than vanilla ice cream. Let's put it that way. He's not going to do anything for them. I don't even think he's going to be there in the next 5 years. So I mean, it's really shocking what's happening in the NFL right now. It's really entertaining. You have Buffalo potentially talking about getting Phillip Rivers as head coach. This is a circus. It's really shaping up to where the AFC North is going to become what the AFC was several years ago when KC was running it. This is ours for the taking. There's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't be running the AFC North. But yeah, there's only the 4 head coaching positions left at this point, if I'm not mistaken. It's Arizona, Cleveland. I'm thinking Las Vegas, and then there's Buffalo. So with that in mind, there's actually really a high chance that we can potentially get one of the passing game coordinators, Shieldhouse or Davis Webb, as our OC. It's looking really good right now.
And that's what tonight's show is all about. Appreciate you, brother. Enjoy it. That's exactly the point that I've been trying to make all night, right? Precisely. Nobody, according to reports, no one was in on Mike besides Pittsburgh. They acted as if there was a chase for Mike's candidacy, as there was with Vegas and Cleveland and any other position when it came to Jesse Minter. Like, they acted urgently as if there was urgency, and there wasn't. So that's exactly the point of why I'm tying all this in. And then it goes back to Josina's reporting that she's hearing going into this weekend, the Ravens are tallying up potential candidates, and a couple of them are expected to be involved in championship weekend. So that's exactly the point. And if they feel like, and Jesse feels strongly about a Davis Webb or a Nate Shieldhouse, Pittsburgh just rolled out the red carpet for you to at least compete, because they're going to be looking for an offensive coordinator position as well. But Mike's going to be calling the plays. So if you're somebody that wants to take the next step in his career, like a Nate, and call plays full time, it's not going to be in Pittsburgh. And for Davis, it won't be in Pittsburgh, because that's going to be Mike's job. So remember that. Whereas the Ravens are looking for somebody that can serve as their offensive coordinator, because in all likelihood, their head coach is going to be calling the defensive plays. You see how this all kind of comes together? Well, John Harbaugh took out a page in the Baltimore Sun to say thank you. And you guys probably cannot read that. So let me go like this. I'll read it for you. Quote, and again, this is addressed to the city of Baltimore and in the Ravens flock. When Ingrid, Ellison, and I arrived in Baltimore, we knew that we were joining a football organization. What we couldn't have fully known then was that we were becoming part of a city, a culture, and a community that is bonded together by a shared sense of strength and unity. From the first time I walked onto the field at the bank, it was clear this place was different. Ravens football is different. The standard is high, the values are second to none, and the meaning of it all transcends the white lines. You see it in the way this city shows up on Sundays, in the way it supports its players, and in the way Ravens fans represent the shield everywhere they go. Through the years, we've shared unforgettable moments of shared triumph and excellence, along with steadfast determination in the face of trial and adversity. We have lived it all together. Your unwavering allegiance to support your team and to make your presence felt always made this team and franchise the best it could be. To Steve Bisciotti, thank you for creating an environment rooted in maintaining a standard of excellence. To the players who worked hard, fought, believed, and always played with the hearts of lions, thank you. Your commitment to one another, to the standard, and to this city is what made our success happen. Coaching you has been one of the greatest privileges and joys of my life. To our coaches, your devotion and work ethic were unrivaled. To our front office and all the support staff, your dedication was the foundation of the success. And most of all, to the people of Baltimore, thank you for embracing my family and for allowing us to grow alongside you. This city's grit, resilience, and authenticity are unmatched. The pride you take in your team reflects the pride you take in one another. That is something truly special. Football can be about wins and losses, but what lasts are the relationships, the shared moments, and the bond between a team and its city. Those memories will echo forever with deep respect, gratitude, appreciation, and love. Thank you, Baltimore. Thank you, Ravens flock. Signed, John Harbaugh. Classy on the way out from Harbs. Perhaps too late for some of you. And I know some of you will remember the end of the bar comments from years ago. But a classy salute from John Harbaugh as he begins the next chapter of his coaching career at 63, 1 year older than Mike McCarthy, who just landed in Pittsburgh. It's not the last that we've heard or talked about John Harbaugh. Believe that me. Believe you me. Again, taking Dennis Johnson, defensive line coach, with him. Tried to take Chris Horton. That was blocked by the organization. Special teams coordinator. He'll remain in Baltimore. Perhaps Randy Brown will as well, because he hand-selected Tyler Loop, last year's rookie kicker. It's going to be fascinating to see how this unfolds. Elsewhere, Arthur Smith, he was the offensive coordinator under Mike Tomlin. He's expected to become the next OC at Ohio State. He's received multiple requests for NFL head coaching and offensive coordinator interviews this cycle. He's engineered multiple top 10 offenses in the league. And now it looks like he's heading to Columbus. Obviously, there's a new staff coming in. And Mike will call the plays. Mike McCarthy, that is. Elsewhere, not sure Bobby Slowick was ever involved with the Ravens, but the Dolphins are hiring him as their new offensive coordinator. He also interviewed for the Eagles offensive coordinator job. And what about Anthony Weaver? I don't know. Maybe there's a chance after working with Baltimore or interviewing with Baltimore for their head coach vacancy that he ends up there. I kind of doubt it, though, because you'd think that he wouldn't want to demote himself after 2 years as being the primary defensive play caller in Miami, knowing that Jesse will probably more than likely be handling that at the head coach position in Baltimore. But anyway, the Cardinals are bringing him in Sunday, meaning tomorrow, for a second interview. And he's been busy. Interviewed for the Bills today. He's a finalist, or was a finalist, in Pittsburgh before they landed on Mike McCarthy. And again, under Mike McDaniel is where he's been the last couple years. Guest lines are open. Appreciate you guys for being with me tonight. Over 2,200 concurrents and counting. The viewership, engagement, support continues to pour in. Means a lot. Thank you, guys. 90 seconds on the clock. Andrew, you ready to roll? Come on, brother. 90 seconds. The floor is yours. What's going on, dude?
What's up? What's up?
Good to see you, man.
I feel like Shannon Sharp tonight. You know, I feel like I don't care if it's Mike Wazowski, Mike McCarthy, Mike Tomlin, Ravens in 5. Like,
there you go.
They overplayed their hand. They should have brought him in as the offensive coordinator. I think that would have been a smarter move, but that would mean who the coach would be for their future would have to agree with Mike McCarthy being the offensive coordinator, and I don't think they were going to risk that.
Correct.
And the Browns are being the Browns. Honestly, if the Bengals don't get their defense up and the offensive line going, we should run the North. But I think at this point, getting rid of our coach and just doing a clean sweep and being like, look, we need some fresh blood. We need a defensive guy. Let Lamar pick his OC. We should run the North for another good 2 to 3 years. I can't say 5 because 5 is a long time, but 2 to 3 years, we should run the North.
Now, you and me both know, though, all these conversations 5 months ago were being had, right? And it was undoubtedly universally recognized as not only a top 3 roster in the league up there with the Philadelphias and Detroits, a bona fide Super Bowl contender. They're going to run the table.
Correct.
And there were a lot of reasons as to why that didn't happen this year. But I do want to and I know you're talking more big picture than right away. But you and me both know they got to retool at both guards. They got to find pass rushers, develop pass rushers that are in-house, and you got to retool the secondary in some cases, figure out what Marlon Humphrey's future is, make sure that Nate Wiggins gets back to developing the way that he was his rookie season. So I know you know this, but but that I don't want to lose sight of what led to the shortcomings of this season and what we were speaking about 5-6 months ago that did not come to fruition whatsoever.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And I can't blame Harbaugh for all of it. Obviously, there was definitely some flaws, but there was too many times that I saw direct things that I looked at Harbaugh. I'm like, this has to be on you. Like Daniel Falele, like the fact that we couldn't run the ball, and coach says, "Hey, yeah, I guess we should use Derrick Henry in the fourth quarter." All that's on him.
Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate you, brother. Enjoy your weekend, man. 90 seconds, a good call. I mean, and again, I know he's with me lockstep on that, right? But I'm gonna make it really my off-season goal to remain mindful and try to be tempered. Because look, it's a honeymoon phase right now. It's a honeymoon phase for the fan base. It's a honeymoon phase for coverage. It's a honeymoon phase for the Ravens. It's a new era. And your bottom line is you're 0-0 right now, and you will be for the next several months. And there's a lot of tasks that need to be accomplished along the way. But they have some glaring weaknesses that they have to get addressed. And so, yeah, that 2 to 3 year timetable, I think, is a better way of looking at it from 1,000 feet up, right? It's not a rebuild. Nobody's saying they're rebuilding. It's a reset. Been saying that for weeks now, since this first came down January 6th when John Harbaugh was dismissed. 90 seconds on the clock. My man came in and then came out yesterday a bunch of different times, teasing my ass. Now he's back. Let's see if he stays with us. Julian on the clock, 90 for you.
Oh man, can you hear me though? Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Good. Okay. It was something going on with my internet. At Xfinity. I already told you about them. They fucking with me. Anyway,
Good to see you, man.
yeah, good to see you too, man. I was trying to give my reaction to Jesse Minter a couple days ago, but I had to go to work, and there's a lot of craziness going on that week. But I love the hire. I've been saying we needed like it didn't matter to me if we had like Clint Kubiak or Jesse Minter, but I was leaning towards Jesse Minter as I was thinking about it. And I'm glad we got the hire, and really interested to see who's going to be our offensive coordinator and offensive line coach. Hopefully they get rid of that guy, Warhop. I don't like him.
He ain't
And
gonna
I,
be back.
yeah, good. Hopefully they get the O-line coach from the Falcons or the Giants, whichever one, because they're available right now.
Priscilla's available. Yeah, he's not being retained by Harbaugh, but I can tell you this much. Look, you hate to take Steve by his word or at face value with everything he said, because remember, he made that very clear that we are keenly aware of ex-coach's circumstances, and then went and hired a newly minted 42-year-old head coach with no previous experience, right? So we don't want to take him at face value, and I'm going to give you a few more seconds here, but like, so I don't want to get too ahead of my skis there related to Steve's words. But I think it's a pretty safe bet that some of those position coaches will not be back.
Oh yeah, that's good. And I think they're going to retain Chuck Smith, the pass rush guru.
I don't know, man. That's going to be a really interesting one. I thought the 23 season, it was exceptional. Obviously, they led the league in sacks.
Yeah.
And then in 24, they were top 2 in sacks, I believe. And then this year, sacks weren't a thing. They were not a thing. It was not a concept that they leaned into.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what they're going to do with that, but I think they just definitely need to build in the trenches, and I think they can do that through the draft. Also, Pittsburgh, thank you very much for doing that. Appreciate that. I knew they were going to do something stupid in that regard, and I just felt it. And when I saw that they was the only one looking at that, because we didn't even think about Mike McCarthy because he was gone for a year and nobody really talked about it. Yeah, he was doing TV and all that, and like they were so desperate.
Any of these coaches that don't work out, just semi-retire for a year, get on the McAfee show contractually every weekly basis for him, and get a hit, and then all of a sudden you go on to get other jobs. It happened with Belichick, happened with McCarthy. Who else has been doing that? I mean, it happens. So
yeah, Matt Ryan, he got the I think the GM job or president or whatever job.
Oh yeah,
he's
Matt
got.
Ryan. Yeah.
So
Thanks,
yeah, no problem, Bobby.
Appreciate you, man. Have a good weekend, brother. Guys, Preston Automotive Group continues to be my longest standing sponsor. I'm extremely appreciative of everything they bring and everything they power to make this channel go. And right now, as is always the case for Trosseteers, Bobby Baltimoreans, whatever you call yourselves, subscribers of mine right now at PrestonMotor.com, and you can link to it. It's linked in the show notes. You can go on, and if you're in the market for a newer pre-owned vehicle, they're going to give you a $500 credit to cash in towards exactly that, a newer pre-owned vehicle. So let them know that I sent you. They've got over, let's see what the count is right now, 3,956 vehicles in their available inventory section. You can search based on your preferences by make, model, keyword, price, vehicle condition. By the way, the locations are all throughout the DMV. I know DMV, you guys got after my guest the other day, Mia from Jacksonville, who referred to Baltimore as the DMV. I know you do not like that. I know Baltimore, according to you guys, is not in the DMV. I get that. So when I say all throughout the DMV, I'm not including Baltimore, but just know Preston obviously has a hefty presence on the Eastern Shore and in and around Baltimore, including Randallstown, Maryland, off of Liberty Road. That's the dealership that I use when I'm in the area. It's called Preston Ford West. So thanks to them. This is not the only offer that's out there for the taking, by the way, that $500 credit. You'll also buy 4 tires with them, and if you do, you can receive 50% off your alignment if you let them know that I sent you. It's a great website. You can call them at 410-673-7171. That's 410-673-7171. Scan the QR code in the upper right-hand corner. I am a very, very appreciative young man, 31-year-old man, because of the support that you guys give my sponsors. Because when you directly support my sponsors, you're directly supporting the program. And of course, yes, that comment on the DMV triggered quite a bit of commentary in the live chat. Let's see what's going on in the Discord tonight. Should we check on Bobby After Dark? Is there anything happening in Bobby After Dark right now? Jabbo wants to know, Bobby, when is the redate? And so I want to ask you guys tonight, which, by the way, I would love for you to join the Discord group first and foremost. And I'm going to update my pinned comment right now because the goal is to get to 1,300 members. We're over 1,200 as of last week. It's a great group. It's a 24/7 hub for conversations surrounding Baltimore sports, and we chat a little bit about everything. First of all, there's AI images like this popping up all the time. Typically, it's me. I don't know who Sean is. Who is Sean? Typically, it's Baragorn who puts together the AI stuff. But anyway, Jabbo wants to know when my redate is. And so I'm asking you guys right now, maybe led by Laura, who's a Tampa resident. The redate, meaning the reschedule, the rain check for the date that I canceled, which was supposed to be a second dinner date on Thursday night, a.k.a. the night that Jesse Minter's hire was announced, I canceled. And so the reschedule, long story short, is coming up tomorrow. And what I need to know from you guys is what I should do in Tampa. What should I do tomorrow, whether it's in Tampa or St. Pete? What should I bring her to do? I want to do something good because there's some vibes between she and I. The energy, I'm really enjoying the energy between mystery date number 2 and me. Not going to give out names yet. I won't give out names without her permission. But let me know. For anyone who is familiar with the Tampa area, St. Pete area, what should I do? What kind of date should I plan tomorrow? Let me know. Romy is checking in right now saying mini golf. Copy that, Rome. Appreciate you. And who just joined? Let's get a live count on where we're at. Welcome to Sheeta. What's up, Sheeta? Is it Shita or Sheeta? Member number 1,222. Appreciate you, brother. J Chuck. And look at this. Femi. Oh, Femi is our newest Discord community member. Look out. Femi is in the chat as of this morning at 9:30 in the morning. Oh, baby. You know what that means. Fireworks incoming. I love it. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for donating. Or I should say thanks for becoming members of the channel. I think that just about covers it for me tonight. And as always, I hope you'll consider following me and connecting with me on other platforms this offseason. I'll be busy on them, giving you different looks into my personal life and you name it, dating life, you never know it. You can follow me on Instagram at Bobby Baltimore. The O in Baltimore is a 0, by the way. Good way to interact. Good way to probably follow my oversharing. I'll drop that link right now into the live chat. Everything is in the show notes, by the way, if you want to connect with me. But Instagram is at Bobby Baltimore. Same thing on Twitter. We'll drop that in as well. Make it nice and easy for you guys if you just want to copy and paste. Hello, Thomas. Thomas says, hello, Bobby. Hello, Thomas. How are you doing? Lindsay says, don't be corny, Bobby. Build a date based on your previous conversations. Have you found out the things she likes to do? Man, being tough, Lindsay. I got some ideas. I'm just opening it up. I'm not that familiar with the Tampa area. And it's not often do I date on Sundays because for 6 months out of the year, I'm balls to the wall on Sundays working 12-hour shifts. Corny? What are you talking about? Some of you have reached out and inquired about ways that you can donate to the program outside of the Super Chat feature. Nothing's ever expected. Anything and everything is always appreciated. Venmo, Cash App handles up on the screen as requested. Thank you in advance. Appreciate you guys for being with me tonight. And maybe Bobby after dark will start to chat back and forth about date planning tomorrow. Holly says, walk around and eat dinner at a local park. Lamont says, what's good, Bobby? What's up, Lamont? How you doing, brother? I have a feeling Bobby after dark might get a little active tonight. What do you think? Might be. All right, everybody. Appreciate you for hanging out tonight. Will we go live again tomorrow? That remains to be seen. Tiffany just followed me on Instagram. Tiffany, I will see you over on IG. Thanks to FanDuel. Thanks to all of you. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday evenings. And let's see what is made of tomorrow. And a non-football Sunday. Although we'll all be watching those games closely, will we not? By the way, if you send me over a date itinerary recommendation, make sure you weave the championship games into it. Because we got some coordinators to evaluate, do we not? Yes, we do. And yes, we will. Thank you all. Appreciate you guys. And if that offensive coordinator, Dankton's, like you're trying to speak into existence, if that offensive coordinator drops, meaning that news drops mid-date, you, Dankton's, you're fucked. I'm coming after you for willing that into existence, for even typing that out into existence. I'm going to be running real hot because she's going to leave me high and dry. And she may be a keeper. So let's hold on tight. Bye-bye now. Tilly wants to make her way on the way. Later, guys. Appreciate every one of you. Every last one of you, including mother effers who use the clown emoji in my live chat. Have a great Saturday. Talk to you.